everyone and their relatives are doing basically first 7 days experience in Godforge types of videos because the Godforge team needs feedback. And I'm gonna do it myself as well, even though we're like 11 days, 12 days in already. You can see and verify as well that I'm just about to touch the 7th day of my basically account progression. Let's see. First question. I have advanced technology, Google Chrome developer tools. Your first 7 days, the overall experience, what was it like jumping into the beta for the first time? Well, you have to know that I've been here before in Alpha 1, Alpha 2, Alpha 3. Alphas had the cavern experience. It's very much like an upside down Doom tower where you go downwards, but you don't have just like 120 stations, but you have somewhat more with very good, very concise progression, which gave excellent action and overnight farming opportunities as well, where I basically forgave the team for having to keep on running the client. Not necessarily overnight, but I had something else to do and I was running it overnight. Now in the beta, some things have changed. Campaign. You see, we have quite a lot of campaign stages. I haven't even finished the first campaign. We will talk about it why. Then we have different types of dungeons. So here you get Ascension Stones, 4 different types, just like in Raid. 2 types of artifact dungeons and 1 type of extra dungeon where you can get gold and some other materials for also weapons. Now, this is like, you see, weapon dungeon, armor dungeon and so on. Filters are not working perfectly, but anyway. So you have this type of option. And who knows what else? Arena and Tower are not available at the moment, so these are the 2 game modes at the moment. Now, what was it like? Initially, it was amazing. I came back in, it's exactly the same emotion, the same thrill of starting a new quest. I selected my starter hero and I went through the campaign. Animation was excellent, a lot of other things were really, really good, excellent. And you see that somewhere the music stopped because I don't even have a 6-star. By now, during the Alpha 1, Alpha 2, Alpha 3, I had like 4, 5, 6-star champions. Because I was willing to run the client whenever my computer was running. I was willing to experiment, I was willing to do so many things. And this has changed for some reason. We will soon talk about it when I actually lost it. So amazing emotion, like going through the campaign, seeing the cutscenes, seeing everything. I even recorded it. I jumped in as soon as I could, even though there was some delay. But look at this, I will play basically stage 10. You see there is some cutscene where they talk about it. These are the opponents actually that you're gonna fight against quite soon. So that's something really positive. I don't mind the uncanny valley type of animation. I'm happy with the graphics, I'm happy with everything. This is typical Godforge for me. Now I'm kind of familiar with it and it's fine with me. Now I get started with the battle. And you see the exact same figures that were there in the cutscene, continuing, and now you have the fight part, and the 3rd wave is gonna be quite interesting where we're gonna meet Loki. That's really, really good. The first sessions just felt amazing. And it was basically exciting, it got me hooked. And what happened afterwards? What kept me coming back each day? That's the thing, nothing at all. Nothing. Because after the first session or the second session that was still on the first day, you see, this is still vividly in my memories, this cutscene, and also the first time I went through this, and I really wanted to continue with the 3-starring and the theory crafting and everything else. But then what I saw was that I had to keep on grinding over and over and over again with reliving the same, not exactly animations, but the waves on the computer with 1 minute, 2-minute runs, just like in Raid, without super raids, without background battles. And this felt to me like 2019 over again, 2024 over again. And now we're in 2026 and we have all the background battles, all the other quality of life that other games have. Because if you wanted to, for example, let's see, edit theme, multi-battle, there you go, max, and start multi-battle. I just cannot skip this. I need to see the animation. That's, or well, I can put it in the background, that's fine. But this, I knew that I have to keep on running it overnight. And that was the first day when I said, okay, I will continue for half an hour, 1 hour a day from second day onwards. I will engage with the content, I'll experiment with the dungeons, I'll experiment with some other things. But it didn't really happen in the way how I accepted, and after a few days I just fell off. Because I've gotten the lessons that I've already learned from the alpha, and all the information is available to me. So just to go through it once more in the beta, with all this grind and everything else, I just didn't want to continue with it. And that's why the beta basically lost me. It doesn't mean that I won't come back for the second beta. It doesn't mean that I won't come back for the real game. It just means that the quality of life is so horrible at the moment that I respect myself and my family. That I'm not putting myself through this experience of auto grinding, leaving the phone on overnight, going for a jog and not listening to my favorite videos or audiobooks just because the client is so possessive that it has to run in the foreground. I just refuse to do it. That's why the beta basically lost me, but I'm happy to come back if there is a better contract between operator and player. So what stood out in a positive way? Obviously the cutscenes, obviously the care, obviously the imprint system, that you have different types of hits, because you know in Raid you finish with critical hit, but now there is some extra critical hit as well here in Godforge. There are so many other things that are done really, really well. But that's why the quality of life that would have been just to cut down the animation, you see. Here is a pop-up, checkbox, run it in the background, don't show animation, and just display something that is like not much graphics, nothing at all, and we're grinding, fine. But don't consume, let's say, electricity or anything else just by running the graphics. It's just pointless at this stage. So this is what surprised me, that for the beta, where tens of thousands of people come and try it out, there is no super raid, there is no 3x, 4x raid type of option, just like in Dragonair, and everything feels like 2024 or before, or 2020. And it's not a tough job to render or not render the graphics, just simulate the battles. Why would we need all this? So emotionally also, if you see, we got so much energy, like 3.45k, and I'm quite certain that if I open this email, I'm fearing basically of opening the email just in case I got even more energy. Revelation, read, there you go, another 1500 energy. When will I ever burn this if I'm not willing to keep the phone on overnight? How would you expect me to consume all this energy? Obviously you won't. But then I know that my quest and everything else is pointless, because I cannot compete with those who ran it overnight. And you may say, okay, competing with others is toxic, that's why beta 2 is for like PvP, there is no PvP. I cannot even compete with myself, my past self. Because back in alpha days I was like, okay, they didn't have time to do background battles. Now they do. So it took like more than half a year. And if you, let's say, used my services to implement things in the game, I would most likely be able to implement background battles and deploy it. And you would be able to try it out in the internal build within hours, if not a day. I'm quite certain about it. unless the code is so junk, which is kind of unlikely that it's so junk, that you didn't separate logic from presentation. You need to separate logic from presentation, quite straightforward, is it? So that's the idea. What heroes did I pull on my account? Mostly food. I mean, I have a few epics, not a big deal. I'm mostly experimenting with rares. And besides that, I pulled absolutely nothing. So it was not important. Next question. Who are your favorites and why? Playstyle, design, kit, personality, hero. Now, I know from back in the days, a couple of ones, for example, Aphrodite, I didn't pull her this time. I know Dracula, I didn't pull him this time. These are the ones that are really prominent. For some reason, I tend to gravitate towards Isolde as well, because she was my carry for a very long time during the alpha, and she's still quite good also with the speed and everything else. So I know my favorites from the alpha. From the beta there was absolutely nothing. Okay, I got some legendary. I already got bored of her animation at the end. So simply because it took too long. So every single minute I saw this animation, right? Or every second minute. And it's a bit too much. Pick 2 specific things that you think could be better, be constructive. I'm super constructive. This is 2026. We need background battles. True background battles that you can do something else as well. And the type of background battle where you can close the client and do something else on your phone, or well, PC as well on some level, that you start the administration and you can relog in and it computes everything for you. It's difficult because of one reason. Because if you run some sort of a rake race type of competitions where people need to spend energy and convert it to artifacts or something else to score. In that case, if someone is on a 100 battles spree of background battles, in that case it's gonna be difficult for the competition, so you may need to keep the background battles out from competition. But this is 2026, I have standards that I refuse to spend a cent on a game that doesn't have background battles, because I respect my time more than having to settle for any game that keeps possession of my cell phone while I'm out. I don't want to get a second device and a second, let's say, power bank or something else that I put in my pocket so that it grinds while I do something outdoors. Hopefully this is understandable. This is number 1. Number 2, super important, and we're soon finishing with the rest. Whenever you do dungeons, for example, I'm lacking transparency. I know that no transparency is more profitable, but you see, 1 to 3, 1 to 2, okay, what probabilities? 70% 1, 20% 2 and 10% 3? People will data mine it anyway, but why not put it in the game? It was there before Alpha 1. This is a super important thing. What are the opponents like? What are their stats? What are the exact stats? What is the algorithm? I would need to know this as well to be able to theory craft. Otherwise, I can just experiment. I mean, stage info, let's see. So here, stage was this one. I'm seeing these skills, but I'm not seeing what the individuals are doing, you see? So this is actually my team. But I would need to see the opponents, the waves, like all the information. And it's not there at all. Because it's hidden on purpose, so that you know what kind of stats need to be checked. I know it's on purpose because, for example, the drop rates were exactly there in the caverns before Alpha 1 and then it got disabled. Even though I asked, please put it back because it's super important, transparency is needed. And it's not a secret because people will find it on the internet anyway. So this is number 2 that I would highly recommend putting in. These are major issues. Small friction points are valuable, and hopefully I am direct but constructive as well. Because this everything, all the feedback, the background battles, true background battles, and the other thing, this thing here, that you don't have transparency, it evolves around one thing that is called respect. Mutual respect. For me to spend any money, I need to feel respected. And I'm not seeing this at the moment. because information is hidden from me and my resources are consumed. I mean, my battery and some other things for absolutely no reason. That's the point. And as long as there is no respect, there is no spending, at least on my end. Some other players, you may even lose them and they will never come back. Because in 2026 we have options and we would like this game to be excellent. I think there is a problem, and this problem is that the Fateless team has too much experience in games like this, grindy games. I'm not against grinding. I'm not against optimizing for time, like time being a vector, an important vector of optimization. I am against the meaningless chores, the meaningless friction. This game is super easy. It doesn't have to be difficult. It's super easy because you cannot fail. But time investment and friction does not equal difficulty. So if the game was better without this friction, then, you know, why put it in? Now I understand why. There are multiple reasons for it, because friction can be monetized. Because, you know, invent the problem, the product is player frustration, and the solution is they will buy the shortcut. Now if this is the case, I understand that some people resonate differently than I do. And in that case, they will buy the shortcut. But then I also know that in order to be competitive in the long run, you will need to let go of this sooner or later. I just need to know whether I can count on this game or I cannot. At the moment in beta 1, it's rather like I cannot. And that's the problem, although I would prefer if this was a lot more playable. Hopefully it's gonna be more playable in beta 2, and I will get back to theory crafting and also some useful, engaging content as well, because you have so much potential in the system, in the fight system, everything else. Weapons, imprints, and all the others. The economy. The economy is simple. You don't have 100 million different currencies. It's straightforward. The graphics are easy to recognize. It's Godforge. So there are so much potential. Please don't ruin it. And that's my feedback, my 7-day feedback.